Okay, welcome to your Wrestling News Brief here on this Sunday, September 12th, 2021. We do have some news that is of value to bring you tonight, and let's dive right into it. While many people speculated that Braun Strowman, former WWE star, would be headed to AEW, that actually may not be the case. He looks to be possibly headed to Impact. And this is from an article on Wrestling Inc. who broke this story. And here's what they say. That Braun Strowman, Adam Shure, is in talks with Impact Wrestling, according to the most recent Wrestling Observer newsletter. He has not put pen to paper yet, but the two sides are talking. Officially becoming a free agent on August 31st, Stroman and Impact EVP Scott D'Amore have both teased a possible appearance from the former WWE superstar. His first post-WWE match looks to be on Friday, October 1st, when he goes against EC3 in the Free the Narrative 2, The Monster in Us All event. In the show's trailer, and Strowman himself have teased he's going as quote-unquote Titan in future appearances. As note, he was previously announced for Qatar's Pro Wrestling Super Slam 3 show on February 26th, 2022 at the Sports Arena in Doha, Qatar. He will travel to Qatar this month to sign the contract with QPW chairman Ali Marafi. Other names have been announced for the QP3 event, including EC3, Jon Moxley, Brian Cage, Sammy Guevara, Will Ospreay, and the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. Okay, that all said, can you tell that some of those words is the first time I've said those words in my entire life? But let me say this. It is not surprising, honestly. I'm really not surprised that AEW didn't just try to aggressively pick him up as some kind of reflex anytime WWE lets talent go, that their instinct and their reaction without even thinking is just pick him up. And they didn't. It seems as if they are passing on Braun Strowman. Now, do I know if Braun Strowman is even interested in AEW? I don't know why he wouldn't be. He'd be a fool not to be interested in AEW. Where else could he go to make WWE-like money and have some creative control and see some of his friends that were let go from WWE? I mean, it just doesn't make sense that he would not want to pursue AEW. So my belief is that Braun Strowman, Adam Shure, however he's going to be known in the future, we don't know, certainly was interested in AEW. It does not seem that that feeling was reciprocated. And I understand why. You know, Braun Strowman is exactly the kind of pro wrestler that Vince McMahon drools over. Now, I know he was released. I know that's a separate conversation, but the general rule of thumb is somebody like Braun Strowman with the size and the monster type of personality and his presence on camera. That's the kind of person that Vince McMahon tends to gravitate towards. And he feels too WWE-like. Like, I can't picture Braun Strowman in another organization not still trying to be like Braun Strowman, the very produced monster in WWE, where you could tell he was even putting on a voice. He talked like a monster, and you could tell it was just how he talked. Eric and Ivar, particularly Eric of the Viking Raiders, is even guilty of this as well. He does the scary voice when you know that's not how he normally talks. But Braun Strowman is the exact prototype of a WWE champion that Vince McMahon believes. And that's not the same belief that AEW holds. And I understand that. If that's the reason that AEW was not interested or has pursued him at all, it's because they simply don't feel like he's a good fit. And you know what? That's okay. I think that's okay that Braun Strowman doesn't head to AEW, just like I think it's okay that everyone let go from WWE, I feel doesn't have to automatically go to AEW. While I feel some talent fit perfectly in there, Braun Strowman, I don't think would be one of them. I just don't. I feel like he's got WWE style and look running through his blood, and I don't think it's possible to remove it. So, anyway, speaking of somebody that I think would be an excellent fit, that is a current WWE star that AEW, I think, would pick up quicker than a hiccup, as Jim Ross would say, is Kevin Owens. And I'm bringing up Kevin Owens because according to Sportskeeda.com, Kevin Owens' current contract is revealed to be expiring on January 31st, 2022. And here's what the article says. Ever since news got out that Kevin Owens' current deal is set to expire in January, speculation has run rampant about whether or not he will stay with the company or join All Elite Wrestling. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that the former Universal Champion's current WWE contract is set to expire on January 31st. Now, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, who was the first to break the news on Kevin Owens' contract last week, has confirmed Meltzer's report that his deal does indeed expire on January 31st. If Owens doesn't sign a new deal with WWE, he could be free and clear to join AEW or any other promotion in February of next year, as there is no non-compete clause to abide by when a contract officially expires. So then there's a question here. Will Kevin Owens join AEW when his current contract expires? This is part of the article. Kevin Owens has dropped some hints over the past week, teasing the fact that he's planning to sign with AEW following the expiration of his contract at the end of January. On the day Kevin Owens' WWE contract information came out, the former Universal Champion tweeted out the coordinates to Mount Rushmore and then deleted them later on. For those unaware, Mount Rushmore was a stable in pro wrestling era comprising of Kevin Owens, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks. He also changed his Twitter location to quote-unquote almost there, while Matt and Nick Jackson for a short time listed their location on Twitter as quote-unquote there to play off the speculation. While there's still plenty of time for WWE to sign Kevin Owens to a new contract, it appears as if his mind has already been made up. We'll find out soon enough which ring Owens will choose to wrestle in come February. To me, this is an absolute no-brainer. While there was very public comments made by Kevin Owens in the past that he would love to go to NXT and get the hell off the main roster, I don't think he has any interest in NXT now, not because ratings are terrible, although they're not great, more because NXT 2.0 proves to be the same environment as the main roster, where Vince and Bruce Pritchard have all the say. It's just another web that they get to spin and put their version of what pro wrestling should be out there. And I think Kevin Owens wants nothing to do with that. I mean, look at the way he's been used over the last few months. Now, I know he had a great run with Roman Reigns, challenging him over the Universal Championship. They had some really good matches, and he fought him 3-4 times for that championship, even though we kind of knew he wasn't ever going to win it. After that, he fell off a cliff. And in general, outside of that, he's been used pretty poorly in WWE, I got to say. And so I think Kevin Owens putting those things out on Twitter is no coincidence. I think those are real. I think that after he put it out there, he realized, hey, I probably shouldn't put that out there. Let me delete it because I don't want to make my life hell for the next couple of months until my contract expires. It sounds as if he is counting the days until his contract is done. And I'm sure that Kevin Owens is regularly in contact with Cody Rhodes or Tony Khan. I'm sure that the management there, he is in contact with them because he would obviously want to know if a contract was indeed going to be offered to him, that he has a place to land and not just let his contract expire and hope AEW picks him up. It's simple, right? It's kind of even stupid for me to bring something like that up, but I'm sure my point is Kevin Owens has got to be in contact with AEW right now, just to test the waters, see where things are at. But if you ask me, that could be a hell of a pickup for AEW. I think the fans would love it. Kevin Owens is a perfect fit for AEW. Why? He's a talent that many in WWE felt he was misused and misbooked for the majority, not all, but the majority of his career, he was misused. He's very indie, and I know he came from the indies, so he still feels like a guy that WWE didn't produce and create, and they hate that, which is why they're not, WWE, that is, are not looking at indie guys anymore for people to come up to NXT. They're just home growing their own talent, apparently. I don't know where or how. I mean, are they growing them on a farm? I don't know where you're going to get them if you don't get them from independents. I mean, athletes, are you going to schools to recruit? Are you going to NFL training camps? Like, what are you doing? I don't know. Because independents, to me, are perfect places to go, but apparently they feel that they want their own homegrown, start from scratch talent so they can say that they built them from the ground up. And Kevin Owens is not one of those guys. He's always been kind of the anti-WWE guy within WWE. So he's been misused, misbooked. He feels like an independent guy still, which is a good thing. And he would be a great fit in AEW because he would be fun on the mic. You know, he can cut good promos, and being ultra not scripted, being able to just do what he wants to on the mic, in charge of his own creative to an extent. I'm sure there's an extent to that. Then this to me is an absolute slam dunk, home run, whatever sports analogy you want to use, touchdown. It is that. So let me know what you guys think about Kevin Owens just letting his contract expire and going by the wayside and just going all elite in February. I would love it. I know that the argument against this, if you're going to look at the other side, well, look, WWE, you may make more money. Maybe they'll offer him a few more zeros on that contract that maybe Tony Khan isn't willing to do. I don't know. It's also right in the middle, or right at the beginning, I should say, of WrestleMania season, where you have the Rumble in January. He may be a part of that if his contract expires at the end of January. I don't know when the Rumble is, but it's not January 31st. So I think the argument is, well, WrestleMania is right there. Maybe they say, hey, Kevin, let's just do a short-term deal. Plus, WWE is, at this point, I think, finally opened their eyes to the fact that AEW is catching a lot of steam right now, a lot of attention. They're not just a flash in the pan. They're not just picking up WWE's used product, so to speak. They are doing very well. And Kevin Owens would be a massive pickup. And I would love to see Kevin Owens on the mic, maybe go against CM Punk, go against MJF. Jericho's still there. They could have a little bit of a festival of friendship reuniting. Maybe throw a couple of jabs in there. Those two would be fun as hell on the mic. Jericho and Owens in AEW in an AEW environment would be much, much more fun to watch, where there's really no parameters. There's no handcuffs. So, man, the more I'm talking about it, the more I would love to see an unfiltered TV 14 Kevin Owens. So this, to me, I don't care how many zeros, if I'm Kevin Owens, they put on that contract. You gotta go with a place you're not going to be miserable, creatively stifled, given promises that aren't fulfilled. You gotta be. And they're going to try to probably do everything they can, say what he wants to hear come contract time, and try to get him to just sign on that dotted line, to just not because they want to keep him, but rather so AEW doesn't continue to take their talent that are, I think a lot of them, just thirsting to go to AEW, and just to keep AEW out of the conversation and stop feeding them talent. I think they would do it. WWE's motivation mainly would be not because they think Kevin Owens is a great asset, but because they just don't want AEW to have him. So I'd really, really love to see this. I'm getting all hyped up and just thinking about it. So let me know what you guys think about that. Kevin Owens going to AEW when his contract expires on January 31st. I mean, it's so fun to think about. Let's see here. one other thing I wanted to discuss is, if you didn't already know, Samoa Joe has relinquished the NXT title after WWE Medical informed him that due to quote-unquote certain injuries, he will have to step away from the ring for a brief amount of time, and this is his full statement. Joe's, that is. Recently, WWE Medical has informed me that due to certain injuries, they'd like to have me step away from the ring for a brief but indeterminate amount of time. I realize this week we are on the cusp of a new NXT. We are on the brink of a new era in our industry, and that era deserves a fighting champion. That's why it makes a difficult decision very easy to make. Effective immediately, I relinquish the NXT Championship. Best of luck to those who will vie for it. My sincerest condolences to whoever wins, because I will be along shortly to recollect what is mine. So, we don't know what these certain injuries are. I don't know. I mean, there was a reason why he was on commentary for so long, due to being unable to compete per WWE's medical protocol and standards. I think a lot of that was concussion based. And perhaps he's showing concussion syndrome symptoms again. It's, again, speculation on my part. We don't know what these certain injuries are. I'm just looking to his historical injuries to perhaps piece together what these injuries may be now. When you see somebody being told that they can't be cleared due to certain injuries, it tells me it's the head. Because if it was a tendon, if it was a knee, if it was a shoulder, we wouldn't have WWE Medical telling him that he can't go. Samoa Joe would say, yeah, I'm having problems, like I probably shouldn't compete. Their concussion protocol, which is rightfully in place, and I definitely am all for it, I think he didn't pass. So perhaps, since he didn't pass that, maybe that's why they don't know how long he's going to be out, because they don't know how long the concussion syndrome, symptoms, that is going to continue. Now, again, I hate to make up a story. This is just what I'm thinking, because we know of concussion issues in the past and the description of this. So either way, Samoa Joe, you heard his statement from his mouth, not just my opinions, that he will be back. It does not look like he's gone forever, but with NXT 2.0, it is sad that Samoa Joe won't be the guy who's going to be NXT champion opening that show. And I'm very interested to see on September, 14th, exactly what that NXT 2.0 looks like. I'm scared. I'm also very scared, because I know what Vince can do with something that doesn't need to be fixed, as we all know. All right, everybody. So a little bit of news here. Try to keep these brief. That's why I called it a news brief. So thanks to everybody listening. I'll be back on Tuesday with your Monday Night Raw review with a guest co-host of Michael Gross. Michael Gross has not joined me in quite a while. I'm excited to be able to regroup with him, talk WWE, and until then, I'll talk to you next time.